Welcome back to Organize with Grace podcast. Do you feel like you're always struggling to get it together? Do you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends? Feeling completely disorganized in your home and life, that it's starting to affect you mentally and emotionally? Well, you've come to the right place if you need encouragement, easy and simple organization tips, or you just want to know that you're not alone in this season of life. Hi, I'm Grace Herman, your fellow working mom and professional organizer. I believe in you, friend. You can get it together. Now let's get organized. All right, welcome to Organize with Grace. I am Grace, your host, and I am excited to introduce to you my very first podcast guest, Keli Gooch. Now, I found Keli online when I thought I wanted to be a blogger. I read her article that she wrote called Confessions of a Midlife Mom, and I'll include that in the podcast notes. And mind you, I was just Googling random terms to gain some wisdom and insight about this thing called midlife as I'm trying to start a blog, podcast, etc. I was scattered everywhere. Then I got up the courage to email her just to try to connect. And then um, I've not ever made cold calls like this. So I was nervous. But she was so gracious and replied, and the rest is history. And she not only became a mentor and coach, but a friend even from afar within the virtual space that we all happen to be in nowadays. And I asked her to be on Organize with Grace, to be the first working mom I interview, because she's a wonderful example, I believe, of what it looks like to be able to balance it all. And I hope that you're encouraged with my conversation with Keli. And I know that you will come away with nuggets of great life lessons coming from this amazing woman. And so let me read you before I start with my interview, my conversation with her. Let me read you a little bit about her. Keli Gooch is a licensed mental health therapist and nationally recognized writer. She's a mom to a daughter with with a dual diagnosis of autism and Down syndrome. In her free time, she enjoys learning about astrophysics with her 7-year-old daughter and stock watching with her husband. Her most popular book, Watering the Soul, in a 91-day journal for caregivers, was written after a random trip with 7 strangers who are writers and are now the best of friends. So, Keli, thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to be talking to you today.
Yay! This is so exciting. Thank you for having me. Oh my word. It's such an honor. Such an honor.
And this is going to be, I think it's going to be so much fun. And because this
Oh yeah.
show is for working moms like us trying to just get it together, in this
Oh yeah.
life.
Oh yeah.
We'll be getting into the, day in the life. What
Yes.
I wanted to get into with you is the day in the life of a creative mom with all
Mhm.
the daily shenanigans of life. Whenever you use that word in the,
Yeah.
when you and I text one another, I just crack up because it just
Right.
encapsulates what our life is as working moms, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Every day.
Every day. So
I love it.
I I um
Yeah.
I hope my introduction was, good enough, but I wanted you to tell us more
Yeah.
about yourself and your story and whatever you want to say.
Oh my word. You hit the nail on the head when you said balance because last year was definitely a year of balance for me. I started writing about 5 or 6 years ago, just dabbling in the, blogging. Just started. I was like, hey, I want to do that. Having a child with Down syndrome, I was like, I kind of want to write about it and hopefully help others. It kind of started off like that. Just kind of sharing, like you said, a day in the life, like what's going on, like, because people really don't know unless you've been like a full-time caregiver, you don't really know how it is. And I think sometimes people can take for granted, like you just assume things, but it's not that way. And so I really just wanted to show like the ins and out of what it means to be a caregiver and along that line, I kept writing, and then got these just wonderful opportunities to just share. I was like, okay, somebody wants to read besides my husband and my sister. And so, yeah, that was pretty awesome. And I got to, and during that time, I got to write for Scary Mommy and the Today Show. And it's just been such a big blessing that people have been so receptive to what I've written. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I was like a year ago. In the meantime, though, my mother became more sick. And that's when the balance came in. And maybe we can talk about that a little bit more, about
Sure.
rearranging those priorities and how things can just kind of switch in an instant, and how you have to like adjust with life and just figure out, the things that are most important. So yeah, I'm just so excited for you, like seeing your growth. That's amazing. Like, yeah, we have so much to talk about because I think we've both
We
been
do.
searching for balance for like a year and a half. Like both of us have been on this journey, full of shenanigans, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yes, and what I love about watching having a chance to watch your life really, I mean, it from afar, is that just how you're able to to graciously handle it. And I want to just kind of get some ideas of, how are you able to kind of not do it all necessarily, but how do you get everything
Yeah.
covered? How do you get everyone taken care of with just you as one?
Yeah, we feel like that a lot, don't we? And I think 2020, besides COVID, just, because that's enough for everyone. But I think between 2019 and 2020 was the year of reckoning for me, where I really had to stop and reassess priorities, because you can't do it all. Literally, you just cannot. And being a caretaker, because of course my daughter turned 18 in 2020. And for our children with disabilities, that is a huge year because you have to start planning. And that meant, okay, it's time to start going for in our situation, the best circumstance was conservatorship, because my daughter cannot, she's nonverbal. And so she's considered, multiple disabled, like she has different things going on. And so it wasn't just a simplistic, oh, she turns 18, go off to college, here's some scholarships and bye-bye. No. Honestly, the hard work starts now, because I feel like when your child is younger, you kind of have like the public school system, especially if you have a great school system like we did, to kind of be there as your support. But once they turn 18, of course, my daughter is still in school, but things are
Mhm.
different. And so it's kind of like an eye opener that you really have to say, hey, I have got to start planning, because she is officially an adult. And so we went through like 5 months of trying to do conservatorship, which, I mean, it depends on the state that you live in. For our, like, other people have said, "Hey, I just went down to the courthouse, filed some papers, and it was done." It was not that way for us. It was not that easy. And of course, I wanted it done right. And so I went
Mhm.
through several months of that. And then just other things like, now that she's 18, Medicaid and health insurance. And, we're trying to get together a special needs trust for her. So all these things come into play, and I just could not do it all. And then in between that, my mother, had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's several years ago, and she started to decline. And then I had to think about her and trying to help take care of her, and not including a husband and a 7-year old. And like I said, 2019 and 2020 were years of balance, learning, okay, what are my priorities? Because you cannot do everything. And it's a hard thing. And I know, if you notice, if you look up my my website, it was kellygooch.com. It's not there anymore, because I chose my family this year. I'd done straight blogging. Now, not to forget about my full-time job.
I love that though.
Yeah,
You
I
chose
was
your
working a
family.
full-time day job. I was
Mhm.
also contracting with a marketing agency, as well as doing my own blog. And I told my husband, I have to stop. I'm choosing my family. I have a 7-year-old, and I need time for her. My mother is getting older. I have to put my priorities straight. And so, yeah, if you go to that site, it's not there right now. It's not permanent, but for now,
Mhm.
it's what I needed. And I hope other moms know that sometimes it's okay to say no. And I've also learned that what your family looks like doesn't have to, like, we compare all the time. We do it
all the
subconsciously.
time.
Yeah, we do it subconsciously. And you look, oh, I'm doing this for my family, especially Facebook page. Yeah, I mean, Facebook, if you go scroll through Facebook and oh my word, it's like glitter
It
and
never
roses.
ends. Yeah, it
Yeah,
will never end if you continue to do that comparison with others.
absolutely. And so I want other moms to know that it's okay not to compare if your family does not look like everybody else. And I had to, it wasn't an easy thing to come to
Mhm.
accept that we may not be able to do everything that a normal or typical family can do. But it's just like, like I said, just not comparing and figuring out what works for you and what's going to be best for your family. So,
And
yeah,
I love that, Kelly, especially when it's the priorities.
yeah.
We thinking about and really sitting down and being
Hmm.
honest with yourself, and not just being honest, but I feel
Yeah,
that you have really taken that time to choose, right? Sometimes we have to
yeah.
make those choices.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mhm.
you are choosing
Absolutely.
your family. That's such a
Yeah.
strong statement, and I really commend you for that, and I just thank you for what
Oh,
you've
thank
shared
you.
so far. And so how has it been
Thank
these
you.
days since choosing
It's
the
nice
fam?
to I know, right? It was nice to just enjoy, like, the snow blizzard. Of course, thank goodness we weren't like Texas, but we did get, like, a snowstorm that lasted a week, and it was nice to go out and make snow angels and not have to worry about anything else. And just make those memories and have the time to make those memories and, to be able to read a few books, to, just take care of yourself, and especially with, I mentioned my mother, her just
Yes.
getting older and her symptoms worsening, to appreciate the time that I have with her and, to go through that grieving process. Because I don't know if you've ever dealt with someone with Alzheimer's. It is a very lots of stages of grief, because you go through the anger, the denial, but the person's different, but they're still there. And so, yeah, I needed time for that as well. And so I know my mom would understand,
Mhm.
because she was always excited and proud and she, shared everything that I ever wrote. And so, but I told my husband, I'm going to put it on hold, you know, I'll be back. But yeah, and it goes back to that midlife thing too. I,
Yes. Tell
if
me more.
I know, right? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, how when you're in college or when you were younger and you read about midlife, ooh, that seems far away. Blink your eyes, and lo and behold, you're in between taking care of your littles. Well, in my case, I had Ella when I was older, but you're taking care of children and then your parents.
Right.
And so it happens. And so it's definitely not, like I said, when you're younger, you just don't really think about that. But when it happens, you kind of have to do some adulting and make those priorities. So, yeah.
Wow, that is so I mean, I don't know what else to add to that. That's
Yeah.
like, and I just thank you because the a lot of times we think that, we feel another professional organizer was saying this, and it really resonated with me, is when you're trying to get it together, there's no such thing as being behind.
Yeah.
There And I
Absolutely.
think the comparison kind of highlights that for us, like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm behind with this, or
Mhm.
oh, they're doing what
Oh, yeah.
this, and I feel like I'm back here. And like you said, that
Yes.
acceptance of
Mhm. Mhm.
hearing an echo. I wonder why, but that acceptance of the fact that you said embracing embracing what's different, embracing
Mhm.
what is. How about that? And embracing what
Yes.
is with our life.
Mhm.
And
Yes, and that's a hard thing to do.
mhm, it is. And
Yeah, it can be a very hard thing, difficult.
mhm. And so
Yeah.
And any tips that you want to share with, because my audience is working,
Mhm.
like I said, working moms that just want something,
Mhm.
not Pinterest perfect. We just want something functional that we
Mhm.
can, do in our
Mhm.
lives, and follow a system
Yeah.
so that we can keep it together and not fall apart,
Mhm.
really, and
Right.
from someone like
Yeah.
you who, we I you're there's a term, sandwich generation, which you
Mhm.
you are
Yeah.
a part of taking care of a
Yeah.
parent, at the same time taking care of your own kiddos. And what
Mhm.
can you encourage parent working moms that are in that role?
I think, of course, just taking, and I know it's so cliche, take some time for yourself and you're like, when. Um, so I'm the queen of that. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, was because it's not always easy to have those alone moments. Again, we have a complex child. Well, if we want to go somewhere, we have to get like a CNA to sit with her. And I know there are many parents out there who don't have the ease of just, or the gift of just going out on a whim. And so you have to find subtle ways. You have to find and keep your sanity, whatever you have to do that, and don't lose yourself in the process. Doing things that bring you joy, and especially peace. Definitely peace.
Hmm.
Whether it's, sitting in the car in Target. That's one of my things. And just looking at the store, like, okay, I'm going to stick to my budget, but it's so pretty, you know?
I hear you.
And so whether it's telling, your husband, hey, I have to go to the store, and staying longer, you know and especially for our budget people, finding things that don't cost a lot of money to do, whether it's
Hmm.
going outside, and sometimes even hard, to do exercise, because again, you have to get a babysitter for that. If you're, if
Right.
you're, especially if you're not married or you don't have family. But even if it's just going outside and standing, or reading a book, or watching your favorite movie, finding something that you love and that brings you peace, whether it's, reading the Bible, praying, whatever you have to do to keep that peace and to stay grounded. I think that's the biggest
Yes.
advice I can give moms. And to, again, don't be afraid of saying no. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. And that leads me to, I'm sure you've experienced it at one point or another, and all of us do, is that whole thing. This was going to be another podcast episode, but maybe this is
Hmm.
something that you and I can and talk about, is this
Hmm.
mom guilt thing. Is
Yeah.
it
Oh,
real?
yeah.
Is it something that just we just have to live with, or can we get rid of it? With
Oh,
all of
my
these things that are
goodness.
going on.
Oh my word. Yeah, like you feel guilty because your kids don't have on like $100 shoes, but they choose the light up shoes? Dude, no, she likes these light up shoes. We're going to get these and we're going to keep it moving. You know?
Right.
And those type of situations where you like, and it's something so simple where you subtly compare, oh my gosh, my kid had this project, their poster looks a mess, but still, it's the intent.
Yes.
You did a good job, mom. And hopefully, some mom hears this and knows that, hey, you're doing a good job. You fed
Mhm.
the kids what? Okay, it was mac and cheese. Don't you dare let any mom guilt you because it's processed. Your kid is fed. You're a good mom. Let me tell you. And so I think,
Amen.
you know, again, just like, not comparing and knowing those priorities, and especially knowing like what area you are gifted in. If you're not the Pinterest mom, that is okay. You don't have to be this, or I should say, not Pinterest, the Instagram mom
Oh,
with these
yes.
beautiful shades. It's so perfect, but it is so not reality.
No, it's
Okay.
not. And I love my conversation with you right now because we are discussing reality. We are talking about real life things,
Yeah.
and un almost unedited, right? That
Right.
life that we go through. And I don't plan to do
It's
a whole lot
not
of
like
editing with this because it's like wonderful. I love the way our conversation is going.
it's definitely. I'm just glad that neither one of my kids have walked in screaming. So screaming or yelling or singing, like they are asking 1,000 questions. I already prepped everybody. Hey, I've got a podcast interview. I need you to stay. I had plans to like stay in the closet if things got really bad,
I'm
so
in
you
there
wouldn't have any
sometimes,
background
Kelly. I'm
noise.
in there sometimes. Don't
Yes.
worry. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's favorite place to eat a candy bar is in the closet because if you open the wrapper, everybody comes, even the husband. Like, can I just have this piece of candy to myself? Gosh, I don't want to
And
share. I really don't.
right. And don't make me feel bad about it either
Yeah,
because I do not want to share. And
exactly.
yes.
No, I don't. My goodness. I don't want you guys to have a drink of my coffee. I really don't. Like, I didn't make you any. Like, this is mine. Okay. Caffeine's bad for you.
Mhm.
Love you
Right.
guys. Yeah.
And Kelly, I
It's
wanted
funny.
to ask a little bit more about and that is hilarious. That is total day in the life, but I wanted to ask you about your,
Oh, yeah.
being able to, even though you're taking a little bit of a break from it, like how did you keep
Mhm.
continuing with your passion, of writing?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so tell me more.
Yeah, I did. I still have written a few things, and my goal is to work on a book, because another book, because simply because that's just kind of my passion. But I
Right.
know that I need it. I mean, you've written things before. I know you've got a lot of good stuff coming out as well. It is a mental load because you go through, you create, and you edit. So even though it's fun, it's still weighty, if that makes sense. It's still
Yes.
heavy. It's still time consuming. And so that is kind of what I needed the break from. Again, just the heavy stuff, and just to do it when I wanted to do it instead of feeling obligated to do it, like, so many articles every month, that kind of thing. So many
Right.
posts, and even with social media, just kind of, especially during last year, just backing away just a little bit, and having the opportunity and the ability to back away, because as you're building a podcast, you have to have a presence.
Right.
And so I needed that time away, from social media as well. But no, I have not, stopped writing. I still have those creative juices, but now I just have, the freedom to write when I want to, and then just kind of table it until I'm ready for it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And speaking of social media, what I started to
Hmm.
do, and it is, we don't even know that we're
Yeah.
so addicted to it until we let go of
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
started to not to delete the apps because I have no self-control.
Yes.
I'll check it
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
check it and check it.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah.
how have you been able to actively, stay off of
Mhm.
it?
Well, well, well. Now I didn't all the way stay off of it. Now
That's
Facebook,
okay.
you can, yeah, you can type a lot of words on Facebook. And so last year it was just very it kind of sucked the soul out of you last year, because people were arguing. There's so much discord on Facebook. So you
Yeah.
already know I was on TikTok, and that's like fun land. And so I would get on there and then just stop, or go watch a
Mhm.
movie with the kids, or try to find something else to do to stop being on so much, because I'm just like you. I would check one time, and then I'm checking, and then I don't even realize I'm checking. Like, I shouldn't be checking when I'm checking out at the grocery store.
Yes.
Come on now.
I hear
I can
you.
have patience and engage with someone, but here I am clicking on Facebook. Like, oh my word, like, this is too much. I'm too
Yeah.
connected. Way too connected.
Yeah, and I think that it does, little by little, it kind of wears on your, on you
Yeah.
mentally too. And because I don't know about you, but when you've been off for a time, and for me, it's every night. Like, I just kind of made that a standard for myself personally. It may or may not work for someone
Mhm.
else. That's okay. But for myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be on it
No.
on evenings, and it's such a,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary when you like, no, how can I not? Because that addiction thing, but once I got used
Right.
to it, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so refreshing, to just get off a little bit.
Mhm.
Nothing bad. i
Mhm.
i love
Mhm.
social media. I love
Right.
seeing,
Oh,
and
me
I
too.
love it. And so I'm not knocking it, it's just that
Yes.
gotta limit
I
it because I
know.
have no self-control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
I love a good rabbit hole too. So, but yeah, that's a really good tip that you gave. Cut it off at or start, only look from this hour to this hour. I may
yeah.
have to try that. That's a
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
tip.
It is.
Mhm.
It's been helpful. It's been helpful for me. So
Yes.
yeah, I mean, this conversation has been so much fun, and I love that you got
Oh.
right into it and just gave us the goods of how priorities,
Mhm.
not to-dos, but priorities need to
Yeah. Oh,
happen
yeah.
in
Mhm.
life, because
Oh,
those
yeah.
that to-do
Oh,
list
yeah.
will never end. It will never end. And and
Exactly.
and I and
Exactly.
I just enjoy, your telling us about your family, about your girls, and so I could just talk to you for a long time.
Oh,
And you and I
yeah. We
had
could
those
talk all day.
conversation, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot to talk about.
Mhm. Was there anything else you wanna
Oh,
share
yeah.
with our audience, or one last tidbit of a nugget to share with us? I know you've shared so much already. That's such wonderful
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, just to hopefully a mom hears this and just knows that she is amazing, and to also always give yourself a little grace. Give
Yes.
yourself a little grace, just to know that, everybody messes up, everybody makes mistakes. But hey, as long as you're trying and doing your best, you're a good mom. And so, try not to get overwhelmed and take it one day at a time. And you hear people say, "This moment won't last forever." It won't. The kids will get older, and I see that, because we're not having any more kids. We're done. And so, as Ella gets older, it's like, oh, I miss those moments. The little feet moments, and the cuddles are less and less. And so, yeah, you do
Oh,
miss those.
yeah.
You really do miss those moments. And so, if you can, just enjoy the moment that you're in, even when shenanigans are happening. You will laugh at the shenanigans one day.
Yes. Well, thank you again,
Aw.
Kelly. And it has been fun. And I don't
Oh,
know, when you
thanks.
become a famous writer, I may just
Oh,
have
my
to grab
word.
you and, put you back on the show if I still have it, that is. But
Oh, I'd be so honored. You did such an amazing job. You have such a great gift. Like, I looked at your page, like this Instagram video that you had done one time, and you were organizing, and I was like, oh, but my pantry does, again, comparing, my pantry looks nothing like that. I got
right?
half open cereal boxes everywhere, and my daughter's got peanuts spilled at the bottom. So, yeah, you're so great at what you do. And I'm glad that
Thank
you are
you.
sharing it with the world, because your tips help so much, so much.
And there you have it, my friend. My very first podcast interview episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. And to connect with Kelly, you can find her on Facebook, on her Facebook page, Keli Gooch Writer. And also, if you found this episode helpful, please leave a quick review so that others can know more about this show and hopefully become subscribers. And for now, have a wonderful day. And what a blessing it was to be with you this time. And I hope to meet with you again next time.